It's not only momentum.
Doing this mathematician crap. They lost, so we drew, and it's okay because it's +1. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Honestly, it's like people.
Can I quickly just respond to that super chat?
I was going to say,
I was going to quickly respond to this super chat the other time where it talks about we need the momentum against Real Madrid.
Yeah,
I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that if we win or lose, especially if we lose or draw, my head is not gonna go to the. Obviously, if you get slapped like 60 at Anfield, then
sometimes you have to look at these things before and after. So I get what you're saying about the points thing. If I'd have said to you though tomorrow, Friday morning, you don't know what the results are going to be, but I can guarantee you pull at least a point clear of City. Would you take that, or would you gamble on going 3 points further clear? Most Liverpool fans would have said, just give us an extra point clear because it's an extra little gap. The same as if you turn around to Liverpool fans today and said, right, you can only win one game this week. You don't know how you're going to win or how you're going to lose. You're probably picking beating City and losing to Real Madrid. Because in reality of it, losing in the Champions League is massively salvageable, where losing to City is salvageable, but to go 11 points clear of the not the favourites officially anymore, you are, but to go ahead of them is massive. There is a comment here that I want to put up from a goon that says, Liverpool the clear favourites, bottle jobs if you don't do it from now. We'll ignore the bottle job element for a moment.
Projection.
Are you now the favourites to win the Premier League from this point? I want to throw it out to you, gents.
No, we're not. Look, here's the thing. Look, Arsenal fans, I get it. People did it to you the last 2 seasons, so now you want to come do it to us. We're not favorites. And I refuse to say we're favorites until we're 15 points ahead in February. The reason why I have that mindset, that siege mentality, is because of this. League titles are not won in November. They're not. Even if we're 10 points ahead, even if we're 11 points ahead, it's November. It's literally November right now. Look at the date on your phones. Imagine I told you 2 months into the season, I'm going to declare a clear favorite. That's not how football works at all. And we are intelligent human beings as Liverpool fans because we've seen this shit before. Last season, by the way, Klopp was top of the league against Arteta and Pep with like +8 points. That's why we need to continue to win, continue to step on City's throat, on Arsenal's throat. And that's how you win a league title. Now, if we're top, if we've made the margin so difficult for anyone to climb, I get it. But the thing is, like, we act like we don't know who City are. Yes, City have lost 5 in a row, but what's stopping City from signing Zubimendi in January and then winning 10 in a row, 11 in a row, 12 in a row? That's why we have to be ready for these things. That's why we have to keep pushing. But right now, I wouldn't say we're favorites. City are still the favorites based on their experience.
Can I ask you a question, though? What if you go 11 points clear next week? If you go 11 points clear of the team you're saying are favorites, I know it will only be 13 games into a season, but surely you'd have to be favourites with an 11-point advantage nearly halfway through the season.
Nah, Husam, I've got to disagree. If we beat Man City and we beat them convincingly, whether it be a 2-0 and we control the game and all that kind of stuff, then I would 100% say we're favourites. Honestly, because when you look at City, they don't look the same at this moment. They got smacked by Tottenham last night. I don't see them coming back. And one thing I would say is
Can I ask you a question, Ram?
Go on. Ask me a question.
How many times have you said this about City over the last 5-6 years? Honestly.
But there are different circumstances.
This is different, man. This is
different circumstances.
Hang on,
they don't look the same. They don't look the same, man. But look at Husam. Out of all those players that they have, obviously Haaland's there, but Phil Foden looks a shadow of what he was last season. Savinho is still a relatively new player. It's not like we're playing up against a Mahrez, who's won league titles both for Leicester and City in previous years. Gundogan, I've always said this before, never go back to your ex, but they ended up going back to Gundogan, and he looks a shadow of the player that he was at City and even at Barcelona. The defense don't look that great. Everything just doesn't seem to be clicking into place. And it's, what was it? Terry, I can't remember the stat. The first time ever managers lost 5 games in a row. It's
the first time as a reigning champion since 1956 that a team and that manager have lost 5 on the bounce. It's the first time Pep's lost 4 on the bounce and 5 on the bounce. If you beat him, it's the first time he's ever lost 4 league games on the bounce. That's why it's different. This isn't, City have had a few bad games and they're winning still. I think this is the year they fall off. We know there's so much wrong with them right now, and that's coming from City fans who would normally defend themselves.
I was going to say,
Well, Terry, I'll ask you this.
Go on, mate. Go on, to run it. Because I have watched this new game from the start. I'm not any
I was going to say, who knows? City might even tap out. They tapped out against us in 2020.
I think if you beat them on Sunday, they tap out and all their eggs go into the cup.
I was literally going to say this. So the only time Liverpool in the past how many years have been had a substantial difference, and I think it was 10 points. Man City had a game in hand. They won that game in hand, made it 7 points, and then we played them at the Etihad after, which they beat us 2-1 to make it 4 points. So they closed the gap quite quickly in that time period. So I actually believe, and I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet, we're favourites. If we drop it from here, I'll be quite disappointed. However, that game against Man City next week is the game we need to put the nail in the coffin for them and just run away with it.
Yeah, I agree.
So are we just completely ignoring Arsenal in this equation?
By the way, if you gave my Man United team now an 11-point gap, I'd say we were favourites, and we're not even as good as you. 11-point gap is massive. It's genuinely huge.
I'm not discounting Arsenal as well, but Arsenal have never done it to be, for me to even comprehend them closing like a 9-point gap. Because the one thing I hate when people say is that we're 9 points clear, 9 points. No, we're actually 8 points clear because City are second. if it's Arsenal at second and they're 9 points clear, then I say that we're 9 points clear. I'm not counting Arsenal. They're a brilliant team. But for me, Arsenal, for them to close that gap and then have like a 10 or 11-point swing in how many games?
But Sam, why are you acting like you didn't see it last season? Last 18 games.
Guys,
okay, why did I predict? I'll just close on this. Why did I predict Arsenal to win the league this season? Last 18 games last year, Arsenal won 16, lost 1, and drew 1. They won 16 out of 18. Both teams are still capable. That's why we must build the lead. When we're 15 points ahead, I'll say we're favorites.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
I'll get you on that. This here says we are one injury away from crumbling to grab. Listen, I understand where you're coming from when you say this, but your predictions can't be based on if we get a season-ending injury to a player. You have to base your predictions on the fact you're going to get some injuries. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that, Tariq. It's different this season with City. They look spent. If Liverpool crush City, it's over for them. Ram has to be quiet. We are the leopard. David wants you to be underdogs. This year, I'm ready to say it. Mo Salah is our greatest player ever. Greater than Gerrard, Kenny, Dalglish, and better than Suarez at Liverpool. He's on a Ballon d'Or run, is what Bird says. This here says we have to give Salah his credit whilst he's still playing. What a player. Yeah, he's phenomenal. And I know rivals won't like it, but you should enjoy it while it lasts. He's great. If you are a leopard in the tree, stop with the ifs, buts and maybes. We play to win all games, to stay the leopard in the tree. We played as a team in third gear. Loads to improve on. Season
not over, is what's said there.
Sorry, we aren't celebrating any draws if we ain't Arsenal up the slot machine Reds. And thank you very much for the super chat here of the Leopard. Look, I would love to stay and talk a little bit more, but I do want to go and watch Man United's first game with Ruben Amorim. We're going to be live after that.